Hi Maria, glad to be back on your channel. Today I'd like to talk about tough pairings. Wine is usually paired with food. It's either going to be complementary or it's going to contrast with the food. So it usually goes red with meat, white with fish, rosé with everything in between. However, there are some pairings that are particularly tough. I'm going to touch on just a couple. One is, of course, a very spicy food. Spicy food is going to make it very difficult for the wine to stand up to the food. Whichever spice you're using, it's going to be a chili or curry or anything else, it's going to have capsaicin in it. And then the capsaicin is going to attack your capacity to taste and distinguish, especially the very subtle tastes. So what should you do? Well, let's take one cuisine as an example. You can project it on all the other ones because, as it turns out, it's a very usual complement with spicy food, and that is citrus juices, either from oranges or lemons or limes. The reason for that is because the citrus helps your senses deal with the aggressive spice. So given that, what you would pair a spicy dish with is a white wine that has citrus tones and is going to help you deal with the spiciness. Is it going to take it away? No. But the spiciness is also not going to hurt the taste of the wine. A Sauvignon Blanc would work fantastic for it. I do that pairing all the time, particularly with Mexican dishes. I like spicy food. So when I make a very spicy salsa or tomatillo sauce that I go a little heavy on the jalapenos, or even with curry or a Thai sauce or a peanut sauce that comes out a little spicy, this would go very well with it. Nice, chilled to the point of being cold. It's going to help you deal with the spiciness, and it'll make it all go very well rounded. Another thing that usually happens is you want to do, for instance, a dish with capers or olives. Capers and olives, if you let that taste get a little bit out of hand, are going to be too salty. And therefore, when you try a wine with it, it's going to be so sweet that it's not going to complement your food very much. So let's talk about a salmon in a nice buttery sauce with capers, for example. That one would absolutely benefit from a good Chardonnay because it's going to help it out. Now, if it's just capers, it's not going to be too much on the salty side, but it's going to have a little bit of bitterness, that exquisite taste that it's associated with a caper and that you want to complement the salmon. Now you want a wine that will also complement both flavors. Well, your best bet would be to go with an unoaked Chardonnay. Unoaked means that it's going to be a fresh, crisp wine that's been in stainless steel vats rather than oak barrels, and therefore it's not going to be quite as buttery, but it's going to help you a lot with the flavor of the caper. So it's going to round out that meal perfectly. Now let's say that you have the same salmon, but now you're going to use an olive tapenade to really bring it to a special place. So let's say it's a little bit smoked and you've got the tapenade. So now you have a robust smoked flavor. You have, of course, the flavor of the salmon that is going to be nice and it's going to envelop your mouth. And you have the saltiness of the tapenade. So now what do? You go for a oaked Chardonnay. This Chardonnay is going to be buttery, meaning that you're going to feel the mouthfeel is going to be a little bit on the oily side, and it's going to coat your mouth with the exquisite taste of the Chardonnay grape. And at the same time, it's going to help you out tuning down the saltiness. Because usually when you are perceiving a very salty dish, anything that's sweet is going to be exacerbated. So in this particular case, it's going to tone down that saltiness, and it's going to allow you to taste that salmon. It's going to be a very complementary flavor, and it's going to be very nice. Try it out. Like I said, if you have something that's very salty, it's going to make the wine taste very sweet. Now let's say you are going to have some dark chocolate, for example, and it's going to be coating some exquisite strawberries. The dark chocolate is, of course, bitter. The strawberries are sweet. So what do? If you go with any wine that's medium sweetness, it's going to get killed right off the bat. So you want to go for something that it's sweet, that it's going to have a lot of clout in that sense. When you drink it by itself, it might be mild, it might be a little sweet, but you know, it's a perfect after dinner wine. I'm talking, of course, something like a Riesling, which is going to complement both flavors, the acidity of the strawberry and the bitterness of the dark chocolate. Finally, let's say you have puttanesca sauce on some spaghetti, or maybe some your favorite long pasta. Now, puttanesca sauce has eggplant, has a little bit of olives in there, capers, the rich tomato sauce. So now you have a sauce that's really enveloping your mouth with all those different flavors, and you need a wine that's able to stand up to all of them, not get killed. Because if you have, for example, a very acidic sauce, you may have heard you have to put a little bit of sugar in your tomato sauce in order to bring down the acidity. If you have a very acidic sauce, the wine is going to taste bland, because you're taking all the acid away with the food. So now you have this robust sauce, right? And it's got the eggplant, and it's got the olives, and it's got the tomato sauce. So what wine can stand up to all of those flavors? Well, there's Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, which is an exquisite Italian wine. It's going to be able to stand up to all of them and complement them at the same time. So there are tough pairings out there, no doubt, but there are also a lot of wines out there. So I hope that it's a journey you enjoy, trying to get the right wine with the right food. Maria, as always, thank you for having me.